Hey guys, it's Hunter. Welcome back to my channel for another video. First of all, I just want to make a disclaimer about my face. Yeah, I tried to do some white eyeliner. Turns out the white eyeliner is a year old and no longer works. So yeah, that's why it's a little janky with the eyeliner, but we're just gonna roll with it because whatever. We're just gonna roll with it. So today I'm going to be bringing you guys another creepy video. I have really been inspired by a book I've been reading on my phone. Not even quite sure what it's called, but it's really good, and it's kind of inspired me to create a little bit of a series on my channel. Because what the heck? Because it's super interesting to me, and it's kind of given me some ideas. So I wanted to create kind of like a new series that's dedicated all to like haunted asylums and prisons and things like that, because I've really been inspired by this book that's called Haunted Asylums, Stories of the Damned Inside the Haunted Prisons, Wards, and Crazy Houses. True Horror Stories, Creepy Stories, Scary Short Stories, True Hauntings, Haunted Places, Book 2. It's by Roger P. Mills, and I've been reading it on my Kindle app. Totally not sponsored at all, but I really like those books are super interesting to me, and that's what I like to read. So yeah, I thought this would be kind of an interesting thing to kind of create a series. So today I wanted to talk to you guys about Alcatraz, the Alcatraz prison on Alcatraz Island, or in San Francisco Bay. I really want to actually go to this place and actually take the boat to tour it. If any of you guys have done that, leave it in the comments and tell me your guys' experiences, because I think that would be so cool. So I kind of have like my notebook that I've kind of written down. I've done my research and I've kind of written down some notes to help me like with high points that I want to talk to you guys about. So if you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this series. If you do, make sure to give it a thumbs up, and also leave any haunted asylums or prisons down in the comments that you want to see me do a video on. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe. The button will be down below. And yeah, with that, let's get on into learning about Alcatraz Island. Or I call it Island. Alcatraz Prison, whatever, Island, I don't know. Okay, so I'm probably going to guarantee that my camera is going to run out of storage before I get done filming this video, so bear with me. Okay, so let's start off with the kind of background introduction to the Alcatraz prison. So this prison was kind of ran from 1934 to 1963. It's kind of when it was in like working conditions, and it was a prison home to America's most dangerous felons. So all the prisoners that in the prisons around America, they just couldn't handle them, you got sent to Alcatraz. And yeah, that meant you were like the baddest. You were the baddest of the bad. Okay? So it also housed Al Capone. It has a famous murderer, Robert Stroud, which I'm actually going to get into later in the video. So that's a little bit interesting. And so there was never any known inmate to escape, although there was more than a dozen attempts to escape this prison, but as of record, there was no actual successful escape from the Alcatraz prison. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of give you the background of the beginning of Alcatraz and how it came about. So in 1775, a Spanish man named Juan Manuel de Ayala, I don't know if I pronounced that right, I'm reading this off here because I don't remember his name, and he named it La Isle de los Alcatrazes, which means Island of Pelicans. So it's basically named Alcatraz because of all the pelicans and everything that was around on the island. That's how the name kind of came to be. And then in 1850, President Millard Fillmore reserved the island for military purposes, and they actually built a fortress on there, and they had like 100 cannons set up on the island, basically to protect San Francisco Bay from any intrusive intruders. So that was kind of cool. And then the US Army began to hold their military prisoners on Alcatraz. And it was based, so these prisoners were held, they had like Native Americans who refused to give up land that were held there, and just like prisoners of war, people who were like sympathizers during the Civil War, they all came to Alcatraz. And so basically the inmates did a bunch of labor, and they built Alcatraz to be bigger. They added more rooms and everything. I think it had like 600 rooms or something. They added a hospital, they had a mess hall, and they had like all these things, and this was all due to these prisoners of war that did all this labor and built it. And in 1912, when it was done, all this was done being built, it was the world's largest reinforced concrete building. So that's pretty crazy. It's pretty big. And then it actively became a prison from 1934 to 1963. In 1933, the Army gave up the island to the U.S. Justice Court, and on July 1st of 1934, it opened its doors for the first time as a federal prison. And it was basically, they hired guards. There was one guard for every 3 prisoners. Each prisoner had their own cell. They basically wanted to come here, wanted them to be in complete solitude, be by themselves. There was like a no talking rule or anything that was not allowed. And they basically wanted the most disruptive inmates to come to this prison and to basically learn rules, learn respect, and learn rules for when they would eventually, if they ever made it out, they would know some rules. And they typically had 260 to 275 prisoners at a time. So that's a little bit of background about how Alcatraz came to be. Now I'm going to go on, I'm going to tell you about some of the famous inmates that stayed in the Alcatraz prison. So they also called the prison the Rock because it was on a big like island rock place, so it's known as the Rock. So as you know, Al Capone actually stayed there. He was there for 4.5 years, and he was there after his incarceration in Atlanta, and they allowed him to remain in contact with the outside world, and so he was continuing his criminal operation, and so they decided they were sending him to Alcatraz to be completely like in solitude. And he even said, he's like, Alcatraz has got me lipped, or something like that. Oh god, my light's falling. One moment. Yeah, I'll try to put that quote up here on the screen that he said. So basically, he's like, I can't do anything in here. Another famous one was George Kelly. He served 17 years on a kidnapping arrest. There's also gangster Alvin Karpowicz, who was known as the public enemy #1, and he served 25 years, which was the longest period ever served by a prisoner at the prison. That's a long time. Then there was Robert Stroud, the murderer. He came in 1942. He served 17 years. And yeah, he is also known as like the bird guy or whatever, but actually, fun fact, in Alcatraz, they did not let him have any birds like he was allowed to have in the last prison that he was in. Fun fact. All right, next I'm gonna get to some of the like escapes and everything. So there was 14 known attempts of people trying to escape Alcatraz, which included 36 inmates. So out of these 36, 23 were captured, 6 were shot and killed, 2 drowned, and 5 went missing, and they guessed that they probably succumbed to drowning because they never found them again. And so one of the most famous known attempts was what ended up in a battle. It lasted from May 2nd to May 4th of 1946, involved 6 prisoners who overpowered the cell houses and actually gained keys and access to weapons. So they gained access to weapons, but they didn't actually gain access to the keys to actually leave the prison. So it ended up with the prisoners. They killed 2 officers and seriously injured 18 others, so that's a lot of people. Then basically they had to call in the US Marines, and the battle ended with 3 of the prisoners being killed. The other 3 were put on trial, and 2 were actually sentenced to the death penalty for their actions of what they were doing and killing the guards and everything. So that was a really crazy escape battle, but again, none of them actually escaped the prison. And then kind of just the ending of Alcatraz was it shut down in 1963 due to operating expenses. The prison was much higher than other prisons around the world due to them being on an island. All their food, all their products and everything had to be shipped to the island, so it was a lot of a higher price than other prisons around the world. They housed a total of 1,576 men in the time that the prison was open. Oh my gosh. This is supposed to be my good light. That actually stays up. We just knocked my phone down. Okay, sorry about that, guys. So then in 1969, Native Americans led by Richard Oakes claimed the island, and they wanted to establish a university and a museum on the island. But then Oakes' stepdaughter ended up dying a year later in 1970, and he left the island. And then the others that stayed on the island were actually removed by President Nixon in 1971. And it became part of the Golden Gate National Recreation in 1972 and opened up to the public in 1973. And today it's a museum. You can take a boat tour over and go tour it. And it is said that 1 million visitors visit Alcatraz each year. So that is fabulous. Like, that's so cool. I want to go there so bad. So now I'm going to get into some of the hauntings and paranormal stuff that goes down in Alcatraz. Okay, so on to the hauntings that have been reported in the Alcatraz prison. So the first haunting is taking place in the utility corridor, where actually 3 inmates were pummeled with bullets, shot and killed one night while they were actually trying to escape. And it was said that they have heard kind of a clanging noise, that guards have that in 1976 a guard was walking through the prison and he reported hearing a weird clanging sound coming from inside the utility corridor, but upon opening there was nothing there, no one inside. So that's a bit creepy. Another reported haunting is cell 14D. This is also where one of the, so a form of punishment for the Alcatraz prisoners was called these little holes, I think they called them. I have them right here. So there were 5 holes on the lower tier where prisoners were kept in isolation for up to 19 days. The cells had a toilet, a sink, 1 light bulb, and a mattress provided only during the night. So this cell 14D is one of these whole cells where these prisoners were put in, and people have reported feeling cold and kind of just sensing like a big rush of cold air blowing for them. And there was also said that a prisoner was actually strangled. A prisoner was reported one night screaming that something was attacking him, and the next morning he was found strangled to death. And the guards swear that while they were counting the prisoners the next day, they saw the killed prisoners standing in the line of prisoners, but when they looked back, he was gone. Another thing has reported that they've heard sobbing, crying, moaning all around the prison. They also say cell block A's, B's, and C's you can hear crying and moaning, which is so cool. I really definitely want to hear that. And there's also been kind of talk about if Al Capone's ghost actually remains in Alcatraz. And a fun fact about Al Capone staying there was he never wanted to go outside or do anything. So the guards allowed him to play a banjo in the prison kind of band that they had. So he would play the banjo. And one man has reported that he was walking through the prison when he heard banjo music playing, but he had no idea where it was coming from. And before this, he had no idea that Al Capone had played in the band or played the banjo, so he had no idea that that could have been Al Capone. So I don't know if that was Al Capone or maybe another member of the band, but he reported hearing a banjo, so I really don't know. So those are all kind of the reported hauntings, but many other people have reported cold spots, hearing noises, just all kind of creepy, eerie stuff. They say that mostly people see stuff at night rather than during the day, but you never know. I would be so excited to go there like during the day even, and just tour it and just kind of see the life that these prisoners had to live. It's so cool. So definitely when I go to California the next time, I want to hit that up. That would be so fun. It's on my list. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys enjoyed getting to learn a little bit about Alcatraz and the creepy hauntings. If you like this video, don't forget to thumbs up. Don't forget to leave me recommendations for haunted asylums and prisons down below, because I think this series is super fun and I love researching and getting to see all the creepy stuff. So yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate it so much. And don't forget to subscribe before you leave the buttons down below, and I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye guys.